Hello and welcome to High Voltage Engineering. We are continuing with the topic called the conduction and breakdown in gases. This is module 1.5. In this module, we'll be talking about, or in this class, we'll be talking about breakdown of electronegative gases, followed by the time lags for the breakdown. That means the lag between when the voltage is applied and when actually the breakdown occurs. It does not happen instantly. There is some time difference. So we'll be talking about that. Okay, so let us continue. Now in this topic, breakdown in electronegative gases, it should be noted that one process that gives high breakdown strength to a gas is the electron attachment, in which the free electron get attached to the neutral atom or molecule to form a negative ion. So you consider a neutral atom. Now when electron is attached to it, it becomes a negative ion. Now this negative ion is the gives high breakdown strength that creates this breakdown, and it is the important part in this breakdown of gases. Okay, since negative ions like positive ions are too massive to produce ionization due to collision, attachment presents an effective way of removing the electrons which otherwise would have led to a current growth and breakdown at low voltages. The gases in which this attachment plays an active role is called electronegative gases. Okay, so that means what? Since the negative ions, similar to the positive ions, are very large to produce ionization due to collision, so they do not produce ionization. The attachment process that creates an effective way of removing the electrons which would have led to the current growth. So this is a better option. The most common attachment process encountered in gases are: 1. The direct attachment, in which the electron directly attaches to the form of a negative ion, and the dissociative attachment, in which the gas molecules split into their constituent atoms and electronegative atom form a negative ion. So there are two ways of that this split of this atoms takes place. The split of this molecules takes place. So there are two common ways of that are encountered. One is a direct attachment, and the other is the dissociative attachment. Okay, so we have this example of direct attachment. We have you can see AB plus E equals AB minus. It is a simple attachment. We have atom or a molecule, and an electron gets attached to it. And a dissociative attachment is that the atom or molecule, it is rather a molecule, when it is attached, it is with an electron, it breaks into two atoms, one atom and one ion. Okay, so these are the two ways: the direct attachment process and the dissociative attachment process. These ions are formed. A simple gas of this type is oxygen. That oxygen gives this kind of direct attachment and dissociative attachment. Okay, the other gases, like some are like sulfur hexafluoride, freon, carbon dioxide, and fluorocarbons. In these gases, the A is usually sulfur or carbon atom, and B is the oxygen atom or one of the halogen atoms or molecules. Okay, now with such gases, the Townsend's current growth equation is modified to include ionization and attachment. And attach coefficient, the attachment coefficient eta, should be defined similar to an alpha as the number of attaching collisions made by one electron drifting 1 centimeter in the direction of the field. Now under these conditions, the current reaching the anode can be written as this equation that is being provided here. This is the equation. Okay, so what is this equation? The current that reaches the anode due to this ionization. Okay. Now the Townsend breakdown criteria of attaching gases can also be deduced by equating the denominator equating this denominator to 0. Okay. Now if we do that, you will get this equation. Alright. Now this shows us that when alpha is greater than eta, breakdown is always possible irrespective of the value of alpha, eta and gamma. Okay. Now that means what? If alpha is greater than eta, so this exponential part is positive. Okay. So the breakdown is always possible. On the other hand, if eta is less than alpha or eta is greater than alpha, it approaches this asymptotic form, and with the increasing value of d. You can see in this graph the expression. Okay. Next we'll come to time lags for breakdown. The mechanism of spark breakdown is considered as the function of ionization process under uniform field conditions. But in practical engineering designs, the breakdown due to the rapidly changing voltage or impulse voltage is of great importance. Actually, there is a time difference between the application of voltage sufficient to cause a breakdown and the occurrence of breakdown itself. That time difference is called the time lag. So when we apply a voltage, you do not expect a breakdown to occur. There is a small time lag between them, and you can study that time lag. Okay. Now the Townsend's criteria for breakdown is satisfied only if at least one electron is present in the gap between the electrodes. So in the case of applied DC or slowly varying AC voltage of around 50 Hz, there is no difficulty in satisfying this condition. So we'll start, in order to understand the time lags of breakdown, we start with the Townsend's criteria of breakdown, and the criteria applies when at least one electron is present in the gap between two electrodes. Now we can apply both the DC and AC here. Okay. However, the rapidly varying voltage of short duration, that is of -6 seconds, the initiated electron may not be present in the gap, and in the absence of such, electron breakdown can occur. The time t which elapses between the application of the voltage sufficient to cause the breakdown and the appearance of initiating electron is called statistical time lag Ts of the gap. So let us again understand what is Ts. The time t which elapses between the application of voltage that is sufficient to cause breakdown and the appearance of initiating electrons. So you apply voltage and the electron appears. So just the time between you apply voltage and the electron appears, we call it as a statistical time lag, or Ts. The appearance of electrons is usually statistically distributed. After the appearance of electrons, the time Tt is required for the ionization process to develop fully to cause the breakdown of the gap. This time is called formative time lag, Tt. So we have two, the statistical time lag and the formative time lag. Statistic time lag is the time between taken for the electron to appear in the electrode, and the time t is required for the ionization process to develop fully. The total time that should be required should be what? It is Ts plus Tt. Okay. So the both time lags, when you add together, then only you will have a total time lag between the you apply voltage and the breakdown occurs. The statistical time lag depends on the amount of pre-ionization present in the gap. Okay, so this TS, the statistical time lag, it depends on the pre-ionization. Previously, if the air was ionized, the number of electrons would be more. Okay, so it is the it depends on that. This in turn depends on the size of the gap and the quantity of the radiation that produces the primary electrons. The appearance of such electrons is usually statistically distributed. The techniques generally used for irradiating the gaps include ultraviolet radiation, radioactive materials, and light sources. So, there are different ways of irradiating the gaps to start this breakdown. We have seen one of them as ultraviolet radiation in the comparison of alpha and gamma in the calculation of alpha and gamma class, and similar way is the radioactive material, keep some radioactive material or some light sources. The formative time lag depends mostly on the mechanism of the avalanche breakdown in the gap. In cases where the secondary electrons are produced only due to the bombardment of cathode by the positive ions, the transit time of the positive ion from the anode to the cathode will predominantly contribute to the formative time lag. Now we are talking about the formative time lag. So it is based on the mechanism of avalanche breakdown or avalanche growth in the gap. Okay, so it causes it is the cases where the secondary electrons are produced they come from this bombardment of the cathode with positive ions. So we have talked about two times. One time is for the statistical time lag and the formative time lag. The formative time lag is usually much shorter than the statistical time lag, and therefore the statistical time lag can be determined by measuring the total time lag. So since the formative time lag is smaller than the statistical time lag, the statistical time lag can be considered as the total time lag that is required. Okay, so we see this different characteristic of time lags. Okay, so we'll talk about these. Okay, so what you have, this is you see the voltage being applied and the time taken. Okay, so these are the voltage applied and the time taken. This is the voltage being applied. First voltage is this. We slowly increase the voltage. This would be the time taken for the time taken for the collapse. I mean the breakdown to occur. Okay. Now this would be the current and the voltage relationship, current in terms of I, this part. Okay, and this is the different type of time lags for different electrodes from the different materials. Okay, different equipments. Okay, so this is the end of our class. We'll continue on the next class. Thank you.